Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Tonight, public criticism is mounting over the Tinubu administration's handling of public funds, particularly on big-ticket renovations and non-essential projects. One flashpoint particularly is the proposed 712 billion naira allocation for renovating the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos. Critics say it's poorly timed, coming amid deepening hardship and hunger nationwide. And of course, to respond to these and many other developing issues within the polity, we'll be speaking to the Special Advisor to the President on Public Communication, Mr. Sunday Dare, who will be joining the conversation virtually from the United States. He'll help us provide insight into the government's spending priorities and, of course, the growing calls for a lot more transparency amidst all the other issues that have been reverberating across the polity. Mr. Sunday Dare, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on the program. Nice to have you. All right, it appears that our connection has yet to be established. We're going to take a quick breather. We'll be back in just a moment. Please stick around. All right, welcome back to the program. Yes, Daily Politics on Trust TV. We're going to segue into another conversation before we reestablish connection with the President's Special Advisor on Public Communication. And of course, the next conversation on our to-do list is one that focuses on the recent endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu by a group of former lawmakers, which is causing quite the friction with some ex-National Assembly members distancing themselves from what they perceive was unsolicited. Now, this comes as the APC-led government faces mounting pressure, especially in the northern part of the country, where feelings of exclusion and marginalization continue to gain some traction. With us to provide some insight into this controversy is Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, former House of Representatives member for malunfashi and kafur federal constituency in the 9th National Assembly. Honorable, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you very much for stopping by this evening. Right. Where do you stand on the recent development regarding the support from some of your colleagues for the president's re-election?
Well, let me start by saying that, you see, former National Assembly members, we have a forum. We call it a forum of former National Assembly House of Reps. Now, you see, in that forum, number one is a registered association with corporate affairs. And the forum has been in existence, I think, since around 2023 when it was registered. And after that, sometimes last year, we also had a meeting of former members from 1999 up to 2023. During that meeting, it was resolved that every zone in Nigeria should give 2 representatives. The Northwest gave 2 representatives, Northeast, North Central, Southeast, South, and Southwest. All the members present collectively make a nomination of 2 people which were announced. And I happen to be one of the representatives from the Northwest, myself and Honorable Aden Jagaba. Part of the mandate is that we should go and look at the existing article or documents which is already in existence, look at it and advise accordingly some improvement on it and see how we can establish leadership. But
of the forum?
Yeah, for the forum.
Right, okay.
For the forum. So unfortunately, sometimes last week I saw some groups, we can't call it a forum, some groups and most of them from the APC. You see, it would have been better if they said a former member, APC, former legislators. That one is okay. They have the right to call themselves together as a group and make their endorsement. just like what happened with most of the political structures. You see, I think in this year, a forum of former members that was from the South was organized by the Deputy Speaker, which was held in I think in Imo, somewhere in the Southeast. But you can understand that that forum was purely, if there was attendance, there was little attendance of some members that attended, but most of them are from the APC. So if some former members called themselves together as a group from the APC and endorsing or making any resolution, nobody will complain.
Did they do it to represent every former legislator?
Yeah, that's what they claim, because they didn't specify. They said a forum of former members. So when you say a forum of former members...
Well, they're not wrong, are they?
No,
they are a forum of former members. They can say
a group of former members. You see, when you form a forum, it's a legalized forum. But when you say a group, anybody can form a group. You can form a group in Kazina, you can form a group in Southwest, you can form a group in Northwest. But when you say a forum, it's all-inclusive. So what I'm saying is that somebody claimed to be the chairman. At what point was he made the chairman? Somebody claimed to be a secretary. At what point was he made a secretary? So
are they claiming to represent people like you?
Yeah, they said a forum. You see, when you said a forum of former members, we have a forum. I said it's registered with corporate affairs.
So they were using your registered name, the name of the collective.
They don't even know that it was registered.
Right.
They don't even know that there was a certificate of registration. That is the irony of it. They don't know that's a legal document for that forum. They don't even know. So when you claim and compare yourself a power, it's like operating without a mandate. That's why I said from the beginning, if they said a group of APC members, but when you claim to be representing a legal entity, that doesn't make sense. That is why there was a lot of agitation from members that they did it without their consent. Okay, let me give you an example. From 1999 to 2023, that's what qualifies somebody to be a former member, once you are not in the 10th Assembly. Now the question is, out of the total, we have over 2,000 members.
Active?
Former
or just
members.
Documented?
Because we have over almost 290 new members. So if out of 360 something you have 290 something, automatically the margin you can assume are the former members. And you take the stock of the number of, even at 360, for example, if you calculate by 6, over 2,100.
I'm asking, is the forum talking about registered members with the forum, or just anyone who is former?
Let me tell you, once you are a former member, are totally member of the forum.
By default, whether or not they take part in your activities?
Once you are a former member, you were once a member, automatically you become a member of the forum. So it's left for you whether to be active or not.
Right.
So if you look at the attendance of their meeting, they are just about less than 50. So how can take a mandate of over 2,000 people? And if you look at the attendance, there's only one former leader who happens to be a member of National Working Committee of APC. So how can you have about 6 assembly? And in each assembly you have not less than 10 leadership. 10 times 6, about 60 leadership. Whether they are alive or not, but you don't expect to have less than 10 to 20, at least former leaders on the high table.
Was this something the forum, to your knowledge, was discussing? To endorse or not to endorse the president? Was this something that you were discussing before now?
How can you discuss? I mean, am I in APC?
No, I'm saying as a forum. Was this something that
our forum is not partisan. Because the assumption is membership of the forum belongs to different political parties. So we cannot even bring this as part of agenda to endorse anybody. Because every member of a political party has his candidate. So how can you use a forum that is not partisan and now endorse somebody?
But as you pointed out, Honorable, they as members of the forum, or as Nigerians generally, have a right to endorse or to support anyone politically. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you can use it in your own name. That's why I said they can call themselves a group of APC.
Yeah, but they're also members of the forum,
Yeah,
right?
but you cannot operate with the mandate of the forum.
Is there is there a chance that the headline was misleading, but
It's
they were presenting themselves as members of the forum endorsing the president?
You see, let me tell you, in the first place, when you want to call for a meeting, the assumption is you call for a meeting of all members, isn't it? There was no any notice of meeting. It was selective. So, which means it was arranged. You see, an invitation of this nature should be open. Whoever has the chance and the time can attend. But because they know they have an agenda, the meeting was selective. There was no any notice of any meeting anywhere.
If they had invited you, would you have come?
To do what? I say I'm one representing Northwest in the last meeting we had in A class, where all members from 1999 were there, and a decision was made. 2 people who were temporarily nominated by each zone to represent their zone.
Who is the current leadership? What is the current leadership of the forum?
That's why I said because of the gap. I think after 2025, I think there was a leadership. But that leadership, that's why I said there was a gap. From 2015 to date, the forum was not very active. The leadership was not clearly defined. That was why a meeting was called of all members, as members, to discuss the issue. And in that meeting, it was resolved that every zone in Nigeria should give 2 representatives. Those 2 representatives are supposed to sit down, review the statute of the forum itself, and advise how to move forward.
So as at this moment, there is no officially recognized leadership?
There is none.
So it's all man to himself?
Not all man. That's why I said we call. You see, when you set a forum has membership. And membership are the membership that make the leadership.
Yeah, but there's no defined leadership.
So I told you that 2 people were represented to form a kind of interim committee.
Temporarily.
For the leadership, yes, right. Which means it exists because they were mandated by the same members. And we had a meeting. You see what I'm saying? So tempo now, those representatives from each zone form the leadership for now. Because they were nominated by each zones and they form the leadership.
Right.
The former leader of the House, Mulika, is chairing the committee. And I could remember Nana was made the secretary. So there's an interim leadership committee.
What is your theory about what is playing out? Because the President Chief of Staff was the Speaker of the 9th Assembly, and some are pointing fingers at him, saying he is the one orchestrating this. Is this what you also believe is happening?
Well, you see, I think number one, if you look at the attendance, if you look at the high table, if you look at the attendance, under normal circumstances, you cannot be a speaker with 9 other leaders, and none of them was present. None of the leaders, when he was a speaker plus 9, all of them make 10. From the 10 leadership of the...
You're talking about principal officers?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, some of them are still in the House of Representatives right now.
Who?
Now, the likes of Wasi, for instance, his deputy.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So if you remove Wasi, which
no, I'm just pointing out.
I'm only telling you. So you see, if he cannot attend as a former member, what about the remaining 8?
What are you suggesting exactly?
What I'm saying is that I'm responding to your question that by implication, it was the Chief of Staff that organized it.
And is there anything wrong with that?
That's why, you see, the only thing that is wrong with that is the name. You cannot act on my behalf without my consent. Because if you look at the communique they put it in the name of the forum, which directly affects me because I was a former member. And my consent was not solicited. That's the only issue. That's why I say if a group of former APC members decide to form themselves into a group and don't do endorsement, good and fine. Nobody is faulting that.
And what is your major objection with this endorsement exactly?
You see, my major objection is that our forum is supposed to be non-partisan.
Politicians who are non-partisan, that is something
the
new.
issue is, you see, the objective, you see, is to promote and ensure that the institution of the National Assembly, that is the essence of the forum. To advise, for example, the current members on areas where they are not doing well or there is a gap. That is the essence of the forum. When you say a forum of former members, you know that it comprises of people from different background, different political parties and whatever. So by the time you introduce partisan politics into it, then it will destroy the forum. That is the bottom line. It cannot be used for the purpose of for somebody to achieve certain political gain. It's not supposed to be that. That is not the objective of the forum. Because if they say that endorsing him, somebody also from other, you can say, in fact, it will bring a division in the forum. That is the essence.
So this is an anomaly?
It's very abnormal. And it has never happened.
What's the feeling within the forum about this particular development? I mean, I guess that there are other APC members or people who are not directly opposed to this development.
APC. Yeah. It was even poorly arranged in the first place. Like I told you, there was no notice. Can you hold a meeting without a notice of meeting? You cannot call a meeting in the name of any other thing without giving somebody a notice. There was no notice anywhere. We have different platforms. Under normal circumstances, the notice of meeting should have been sent on the platform for everybody to know. So it is now left for me whether to attend or not to attend. That is purely my right.
Yeah, but what are other members saying about this particular development?
You see, you cannot say what other members are saying.
The ones that you've spoken to about this, because clearly you feel very strongly about the endorsement. I'm asking, what are some of your colleagues saying regarding this?
You see, I don't care. I've been in politics, I'm still a politician. When you endorse somebody, it doesn't make any sense. Let me tell you, most of the people that attended, ask them when last they went to their village. There are most of people that are staying within Abuja, are living a life after the house, after the National Assembly. They restrict themselves within Abuja. How many of them can make any political impact in where they come from? We all know them. So as far as I'm concerned, whether you endorse or you don't endorse, it's immaterial to me. Because I have my political focus. If you endorse somebody, does that mean that you are endorsing him with the consent and mandate of your constituents?
Well, it does say something, isn't it? That you're giving the president a vote of confidence and you're most likely going to canvass for him, isn't it?
In Nigeria, we're just trying to deceive ourselves. All these endorsements, we've been seeing it around. Governors endorsing, everybody's endorsing. Those governors endorsing, what guarantee do they have that they're going to make back to their seats? This is politics. How many governors lost their seats while they were on power? You see, politics is about planning. You can't just go and announce because you want to make somebody happy that you are endorsing. Who are you endorsing? Was there any pre-arranged meeting with your constituents where it was clearly shown that those people doing the endorsement has the mandate of their constituents?
I suppose there's no point in asking you whether you believe the president deserves endorsement or not.
Well, you see, like I told you earlier, I'm in a different political party. And I've been in the politics for some time. And I come from Katsina. You see, in my state, as it is today, more than 24 local governments are under insurgency. Every day. In my local government just yesterday.
Attacks or under the control?
Kidnap on daily basis. Right. Within the last 2 weeks, in my local government was attacked more than 2 to 3 times. So what I'm saying is that whether I go with the endorsement or not is left for people to decide.
Yeah, but I'm asking you what you think of the president's, growing support in terms of the endorsement.
So he has the right to mobilize for support. That is all right as the president. But that doesn't mean that what they are flashing on the media represent the true position of Nigerians.
You think he's undeserving based on his performance?
It's not about undeserving or deserving. The issue, he has to get his mandate from his party. And if he got his mandate from his party, it's now left for Nigerians to decide. Whether he gets his second term or he doesn't get his second term is not my business. My business is that I'm in a political party. I'm going to have my candidate. We are going to be focused and want to make sure our candidate win an election.
And talk to me about this coalition that is fast become a household name in Nigerian politics regarding what they're bringing to the table. People are still struggling to understand what the ADC is actually bringing to the table that has not been advertised before.
You see, what people don't understand is that, you see, when you are forming a coalition like this, what is important is to establish the structure first. When you establish the structure, you cannot build a house without a foundation. When you establish the structure, the next thing is that there are certain things you are doing within yourself, because every political party should have a program. Every political party has its own program of activities. We still have about a year or so to start campaigning. What we are doing now, whatever anybody is saying, is that we are articulating ourselves to build a formidable structure first. When we build the political structure, then we articulate our positions, what we are going to present to Nigerians. So for somebody to ask me now, what do we have to offer for Nigerians? Let us wait for the time. It's not a campaigning period.
Yeah, but you're already packaging yourself as the better option. That's
what I'm saying. What we are doing now, you see, it's just Nigeria in a hurry. What we are doing now is that we all agree that this government has failed. That's rule number one.
Who is we in this conversation?
The coalition.
Okay.
We are discussing about the coalition.
I mean, you did so, just some few months when the administration came on board, because we understood that this whole coalition movement has been in the making for the past 18 years, or 19, I beg your pardon, 18 months to 19 months now. Mm. So you started long time ago.
See, that is, you see, actively, the opening conversation is something else. But to the best of our knowledge, this issue of serious conversation on this issue of coalition started this year.
Some would say, Honorable, you've already decided that Tinubu had failed from the get-go. How? And now you built a case around that to justify your conclusion.
That is not correct. You see, this decision of coalition was decided when it was very clear that this government has failed. After the first year, going towards the second year, it was very clear that this government has failed. And moving forward, there is no any clear indication or any policy that will make this government to make any serious impact on Nigerians. So the conversation started. Under normal circumstances, this type of coalition mostly happens maybe immediately after congresses, party congresses and whatever. But you see, this conversation started because it was very clear. And you see, a lot of people are saying that those people in this coalition are still part of the government and whatever. You see, policy making, articulation of policies is not articulated or is not specific to an individual. So after developing the structures, we now articulate the policy that this is what we have to offer. But it's not a campaign time.
Yeah, but you are already campaigning, isn't it?
We are not campaigning. Nobody's campaigning.
You're indirectly campaigning.
How?
By saying that you are going to rescue Nigeria.
You see, rescue Nigeria, this is a settlement, naturally, by your division of campaign. When you say campaigning, it's a situation where you start conversing for votes.
But you as a politician, Honorable, I'm quite sure you understand how these things works more than I.
Yeah.
That the messaging, the way you message or, coin your narrative is already telling the electorate what they should expect.
You see, let me tell you, in politics, there are two categories of people. Those that are actively in politics, those that belong to a political party, and the general populace, who are the voters. So what we are doing now is mobilizing for party membership. That's what we are mobilizing.
But you're doing more than just that.
As far as we are concerned, if along the line, you know what I'm saying, but our focus is that we are now presently mobilizing for party membership. We are not soliciting for anybody's votes. So we want to maximize that the right people belong to our party. So that at the end of the party, at the end of the day, our party is going to be a very formidable party.
All right. We know what the ADC stands for as the African Democratic Congress. I mean, we know of its manifesto, but what sort of input is the coalition having on the already established
we are overhauling the manifesto.
Philosophy?
So
what are you putting in there?
Time will tell.
Honorable, you can't wait until it's 3 months to election, then you start telling us what the ADC represents.
I'm only a member of ADC.
Right.
I'm not part of the leadership of ADC.
Yeah, but you know what you're putting yourself into.
What I'm saying is that as it is today, we are having a party. We are mobilizing for support, membership, mobilization. Now, there are certain decisions that you cannot come and sit down here and expose it to the public. Whatever we are doing, time will tell. Whether we are serious or not serious, time will tell. Whether they take us serious or they don't take us serious, time will tell.
Okay, let me be a little more direct.
Uh-huh.
You're from Katsina. It's one of the epicenters of the Northwest banditry. Just as you pointed out, so many recorded instances, especially of late, attacks on rural communities who are apparently helpless at the moment. If you have to pinpoint what is wrong with the current approach of the administration and what you would do differently, what would you say?
You see, let me tell you, number one, issue of security is a mandate of federal government. It's not state affairs. Number two, I'm not an expert in security. If I'm in a position, I will now identify people that are experts, bring them together and have a discussion. So I cannot sit down here because I'm not an expert in security. I'm forming an opinion about security, how to go about it, what to do or not, what not to do. But one thing is that if I happen to be in a position, for example, I should be able to identify key people that we can sit together around the table, discuss the issue, and advise the best way to go about it.
Honorable, for the most part, the critics of the ADC or the coalition movement generally have said, listen, these are recycled politicians, people who are out of favor with the Nigerian populace, who are ganging up, trying to repackage an old wine in a new bottle to look like a solution, but without actually telling Nigerians what they're actually trying to solve or how they are going to go about solving it. Do you understand why people are frustrated that the ADC and everybody involved with that movement are ambiguous about what they're bringing to the table?
You see, let me tell you. You see, when you look at governance, it's about the head. It's about the policy of that government. It's not about individuals. And it is about the political will to do the right thing you are supposed to do. Let me give you an example. You see, if you want to make an impact within the economy, one of the best tools you can use is the budget. As I'm discussing to you, we are still implementing 2023 budget. What happened to 2024 budget? What happened to
2023?
Yes, they extended it to December. The National Assembly just extended 2023 budget to December.
I think a part of it, not all of it.
You see, what do you mean by part of it? In the budget, we have three structures: personnel, core, overhead, and capital. When you are talking about essential, definitely you are talking about capital. Overhead is January to December. Personnel core is January to December. So anytime you hear discussion about the budget, it's the issue of capital. Now, who is deceiving who? At the beginning of every fiscal year, there is an opening balance, a medium-term expenditure framework. That opening balance is your opening balance for that fiscal year. You've already stated that this is your opening balance. You have carried it forward from the previous year. So how can you have an opening balance and still implementing the previous year budget? Where are you getting the money from? So you see, there is a lot of confusion. So the policy is government is what determines, it's not about individual. It's about what policy are you putting forward and your political will to implement those policies. That's what matters. So when people are talking about recycling, do you expect people to come from the heaven and govern Nigeria? Or you want all the politicians to stay aside and bring new set of people to run Nigeria? It's not possible.
It's not possible for a new set of leaders to emerge?
It's democracy.
Yeah, but you're saying
let me tell you,
you're saying that it's not possible.
Let me tell you what we are doing in ADC now. For every position, we are giving 50% to the youth. 30% to the women.
Not senior positions, though.
In every position.
Yeah, but they're deputizing.
No, I said 50% position. Yeah. How can you deputize, 30% to women, arithmetic, 50% to women? No, so how can 80% deputize to 20?
I'm saying, Honorable, we've seen the nominations or the appointments in public, and most of them are not necessarily lead positions. They're deputizing.
No. You see, it's a policy. There is 50% representation of youth. And there's 30% representation of women.
I don't doubt that the youths are a part of the makeup of the leadership structure of the ADC. I'm saying that their positions are not necessarily significant positions where they are on the table making the decisions for the ADC.
We want to win an election. And these nominations are made by various structures. You saw what I'm saying? I make my, for example, from Katsina we make our representation, Kaduna we make their own representation, Sokoto we make their own representation. You saw what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if there is any gap, we have to meet all those requirements. So it doesn't matter whether it's not deputizing, nobody is deputizing anything. So if you said, how can 80% deputize for 20? It's not correct. 30% women, 50% youth.
You obviously have women leader, you have youth leader, but you have deputy national secretary, deputy publicity secretary.
Let me tell you, as it is today, when you said 50%, if you have, for example, 17 positions, the 50% cannot be less than 8. The 30% cannot be less than 5. If you have 5 plus 8, that is 13, my friend. If you have 18 positions, how can all the 13 deputize for 5?
But we know party structure. The most important people in the National Working Committee that actually matter are the national chairman, the secretary, legal advisor, and a couple of people in there. But what we've seen so far from the ADC is that yes, it's been celebrated. However, they're not in positions where they get to decide the fate of the youth.
Between me and you see, wherever you go, if you are into a competition, you go with your first 11. We're talking about the national structure now. You can't expect less. You see what I'm saying? You can't expect, just because we have a policy of 50, blah, blah, blah. So we now go and put second or third 11 against a sitting government. It's not possible.
You don't trust the youth.
So it's not about trust. It's a competition. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the youth have the numbers.
What I'm saying,
75% of the country are in the youth demography.
What I'm saying is that what is fundamental is that at least 50% of our National Working Committee are youth.
And you think you've sent a clear message for youth?
You see, let me tell you. You see, we need to understand these things. If you are a member of NWC, whenever a meeting is going on, you are going to sit. Whether you are deputy or you are men, whatever, you have the same right and privilege to contribute during that meeting. So whether you are deputy or you are not deputy, the essence is that there is adequate representation of youth and their voice will be presented during the discussion before a final resolution is made. And whenever there is a lacuna, what matters is boys' votes. So if they have majority there, automatically they will always have their way. So what I'm saying is that you don't expect at the national level, we cannot put our first 11.
Right.
So and what I want you people to give us time. Let us complete the structure at the state level, at the zonal level, and whatever. That is why you now open up and say, okay, this is what you want to do, and this is what you are doing. Politics, they say, is local.
Yeah,
so let us complete.
But Nigerians are simply asking one question, which we in the media are trying to amplify.
Yeah.
What is the ADC bringing to the table? Yeah. And it appears that there is no direct answer at the moment.
Yeah, well, for now, we're articulating our position. You can't expect us to come and start saying that this is what we want to do. I said in politics, there is time for everything.
Okay.
Let me tell you, if, for example, I should wake up today and go to my constituency and print posters and billboards and start campaigning, won't I be arrested? Because wait now, let me tell you.
Not really, because there are already campaign posters everywhere.
No. You see, campaign posters are mostly for the ruling government because they decide to go against the law. Under normal circumstances, nobody is supposed to print any poster.
I've seen a couple of PDP posters, ADC posters here and there, but we digress.
What definition of poster? Let me correct you. You see that the difference between
campaign posters,
billboards,
yeah.
Maybe without the consent of the principals.
Okay, if you say so, I'll take your word for it. Let's segue into a more national conversation around regionalism. And we've seen, for instance, the argument about marginalization being re-echoed most recently in Kaduna, where stakeholders are divided about what the Tinubu administration is actually doing. On the budget, it looks like the North is taking a significant portion of some of the infrastructural development when it comes to road, for instance, but the reality is what many leaders in the North are arguing. People like Kwankwaso, for instance, have re-echoed the same thing. Former governor of Niger State, Babangida Ibrahim, has said the same thing. Even the governor of Gombe State, who is on the platform of the APC, has also said maybe there's a need for the federal government to do more in the Northeast. But do you, as someone who has a national experience working in the House of Representatives, understand where this concern is coming from? And do you think there is a credible argument to that?
Very credible. You see, let us be more practical. Let us be more practical. Forget about the funding or whatever. Let us look at the major roads we have in the North. We have Kaduna, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano. Isn't it? We have Kano border, Katsina. We have Kano, Maiduguri, which was split into 203. We have Gombe, Adamawa. We have a lot of, apart from the road projects, we have a lot of other projects. You see what I'm saying? So
there's the Sokoto Badagry highway also.
Is that what Sokoto Badagry goes across North and South?
Yeah, obviously, but
so what I'm saying, I'm talking about northern projects. There is even Zaria, Gusau, Sokoto dualization. All these roads, none of them, there is no activity anywhere. I plan those roads on almost on weekly or monthly basis. No activity is going on. So you see, let me tell you what
including the Abuja Kaduna?
It's very Abuja Kaduna. Look at, okay, you remember before the election, they went to Tambarawa, APC government went to Tambarawa and commissioned almost completion of the projects. If you are moving from Zaria to Kano, almost 10 kilometers, or more than 10 kilometers is abandoned. If you are coming from Zaria, there's another portion on your right, more than 20 kilometers is abandoned. But, so if you are coming from Jere to Kaduna...
Are you being objective?
I'm very objective. You see, I was a former chairman of finance committee. I know what it means to allocate funds. And I know how they are doing it.
Yeah, because if you say the Abuja Kaduna has been abandoned, I would disagree.
What I'm saying is that, you see, when you can decide to be on site by going as piecemeal. The speed. Okay, look at, if you are going from Jere up to Kaduna, portion of Kaduna that was completed, tell me what is going on there. Be honest with yourself. Is there any activity on that road? What they are doing is from Zuba. They are coming towards Jere. For how many years?
So it's ongoing.
So let me tell you, for how many years? Look at Kano Maiduguri. Look at Kano Katsina. Look at Zaria, Zamfara, Sokoto.
But is there anything unusual about it? I mean, we've seen...
We're talking about... You see, we're talking about funding.
But you're talking about speed.
What I'm talking about...
You're not saying that it's not happening completely. You're saying that it's taking forever.
What I'm saying is that when you see, a contractor will work according to how he's mobilized. If a contractor is not mobilized, he will return inside because he doesn't want to abandon the site. But he will just be doing small work on site. So it depends on the level of mobilization you have that will determine what you do on site. So contractors don't want to abandon sites. You see what I'm saying? So they will be doing small things. But that is not work. If you look at what people are complaining is that the amount of money they are funding projects in the south are completely at par with what they are funding in the north. And that, you see, has been like that for a very long time. It has been like that for a very long time.
When you say a very long time, are you talking about past administration?
I said for a very... Well, in 2012, I led a committee where we did budget analysis during Jonathan in 2012. South that time was allocated. What we did, We isolated all projects that are national. We now concentrate projects that are regional. Some projects, Ministry of Agriculture, Water Resources, Education, most of those projects are national. We isolated them in the budget. So infrastructure allocation, South then was having 104 billion. Do you know how much was allocated to Northeast? 34. In the South, they have about 65. Northwest, we have 56. When we wanted to bring the issue out because of the circumstances that led to the election of the speaker, we have to pipe it down. Because that time, we went against the system establishment, we elected our own speaker. So in order to minimize controversy. So what I'm saying is that thing has been there for a very long time. Anytime they have opportunity, let me give you, look at the example.
When you say they, who are you referring to? When you say they, anytime they have
an opportunity. You're talking about North and South now. Right. I'm from the Northerners. So when I say they, I mean the Southerners.
Right. But we also, okay, so people watching the program right now will say, where is this selective, amnesia coming from? The late president left office just 2 years ago. So the North had a, quote unquote, their person in that position for 8 years. Wasn't that enough to balance things out? Is that what happened between 2015 and 2023?
See, let me tell you, sometimes people, it's not about the president. You see, sometimes president...
But you did say it's about the president.
No, I'm talking about policy. Yeah. I'm talking about the policy of government. We're not talking about implementation. There are two different things. And we're talking about fund allocation here now. So if you look at, for example, in the National Assembly, we try as much as possible for the National Assembly to elect their own leaders. As long as you don't allow National Assembly to elect their own leaders, this problem will continue. Because the National Assembly will work as an annexure to the presidency. So when issue of budgeting, issue of budget implementation, fund allocation, all those things, what I'm saying are the responsibility to oversight is the National Assembly that has that responsibility. But a situation where the presidency decides who becomes the presiding officers, then there's a problem. Presiding officers and principal officers, then there's always a problem. That is why we are having the challenges we are having now.
Are you saying that your colleagues in the National Assembly right now, or your former colleagues, whatever the case may be, are lackeys of the executive? Is that what you're saying?
What?
Lackeys of the executive.
Yeah, naturally, yes.
They're in the pocket of the presidency.
For now, what we are saying is not forget about the pockets. I don't know what you mean by the pocket. But
I mean,
what I'm saying
does he control them?
So what I'm saying is that I cannot say they are controlling them, but what I'm saying is that they cannot say no to the presidency.
It means that they are controlling them.
You all understand, but as far as I'm concerned, the present leadership cannot say no to the request of the presidency.
And is saying no a good part of the job? What if the presidency is on the right track? Do they have to just say no?
What I'm saying is that what I mean by saying no, a situation where it is very visible that this is not in the best interest of Nigerians. And if the presidency insists, they cannot say no. That's what I mean. You cannot say whatever president is presenting is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But there are times when certain policies or decisions are at the detriment or is not at the interest of Nigerians. Under normal circumstances, it is the responsibility of National Assembly to now say no, we are not agreeing with this. Because they are the representative of the people. But that representation is not there. That's what I mean.
We have a minute to spare. So my last question to you is, as Nigerians continue pondering and doing their homework, deciding where they're going to go to in terms of their vote, in terms of their political support, why should they trust your side of the aisle with the future of this country?
You see,
even though you've not told them anything yet.
Let me tell you, you see, what is important is trust. And I told you that policy is local. You see, in democracy, it depends on the contestants. And at every level, you weigh the two and choose the best. It's expectations. So what we are presenting at every level of the political structure, we are presenting our best. And in doing so, we are going to be democratic in the sense that we are going to be as transparent as possible. We are not going to impose any candidates. It is the people that will decide. That is what we are bringing on the table. Let the people decide who is going to govern them. Let the people decide who is going to represent them. It's purely their own affair. So that is what ADC is presenting. We are presenting our first 11. Let them present their first 11. It's a competition. So let's go to the field.
All right.
And you know, we do this with something at the back of our mind. You can't take 100%. There are areas where you have comparative advantage, and there are areas where you just play a game and move. So we are not doing this with assumption that everybody everywhere in Nigeria is going to be ADC. But what we are saying is that majority of Nigerians will vote APC.
All right. And on that particular note, we're going to have to leave it there. At least I got you to tell the Nigerians what you're bringing to the table. At least we know it's your best 11 that you're bringing
we're
to the
presenting
table.
the best 11.
All right.
I can assure you this.
I think that's a language that most Nigerians can understand.
Yeah.
Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us on Daily
welcome.
Politics. I appreciate you very much for the
Thank you very
analysis.
much.
Thank you for your time. All right. That is indeed our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Daily Politics returns tomorrow live at 8 p.m. Exclusive as always on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.